as this.
And welcome back to For Such a Time as This, the place where there is no such thing as a silent witness. Again, we've been off for a while, but I wanted to circle back to an article I thought was very, very interesting. We posted it up on our Facebook page. It's from the Business Insider. It was posted, let me see, the dates are important here, November 27th, 2019. There was an election that happened in Britain December 12th, and I have no doubt that this, in fact, was an article designed to hurt Boris Johnson. The title of the article is Boris Johnson says that Islamophobia is a, quote, natural reaction, close quote, to Islam, and that Islam is the problem. Whoa, a politician to stand up and to weigh in theological stuff like that. Let me read the Business Insider. It goes on. Let me see here. It says it. And look what they did. They reached back 14 years for this quote. Okay, look. And in 2005, Johnson wrote in the Spectator that he believed it was only natural for the public to be scared of Islam. To any non-Muslim reader of the Quran, Islamophobia, fear of Islam, seems a natural reaction and indeed exactly what that text is intended to provoke, he wrote. Now remember, this article ran in 2019, right before the election. They reached back 14 years and quoted it. It goes on. Judged purely on its scripture, to say nothing of what is preached in the mosque, it is the most viciously sectarian of all religions in its heartlessness towards unbelievers. He goes on, Boris Johnson was last year reported to the Equalities Commission after comparing Muslim women who wear burqas to letterboxes and bank robbers. Oh my goodness. You don't see this too much. Yeah. So it goes on. The former foreign secretary wrote in an article for the Telegraph that, quote, it is absolutely ridiculous that people should choose to go around looking like letterboxes, adding that any female student who appears at school or in a lecture, quote, looking like a bank robber, close quote, should be asked to remove it. Boris Johnson. Again, this okay. That was recently. I guess that was in 2018. They reached back in 2014. I guess the left is the same in Britain that it is here. Actually, I've heard it's even worse. And so here you have, leading up to an election last year, I think it was September, at least when they posted it, the liberal Labour Party then starts to attack the Prime Minister. Let's look at the clip.
Speaker, if I decide to wear a turban, or you decide to wear a cross, or he decides to wear a kippah or a skull cap, or she decides to wear a hijab or a burqa, does that mean that it is open season for right honourable members of this House to make derogatory and divisive remarks about our appearance? For those of us who from a young age have had to endure and face up to being called names such as Towelhead or Taliban or coming from Bongo land, we can appreciate full well the hurt and pain felt by already vulnerable Muslim women when they are described as looking like bank robbers and letterboxes. So rather than hide behind sham and whitewash investigations, when will the Prime Minister finally apologise for his derogatory and racist remarks?
Now, for the record, it shouldn't need to be said, but I'll say it anyway. I am not advocating that people should make fun of other people's appearances, unless you are a man dressed up as a woman reading to children in a library. Other than that, you should not, I'm not saying you should make fun of people's appearances. I think what he was doing was attacking the culture of Islam. And in the article, as they wrote in the article, he was talking about Islamic scriptures and them being very aggressive. So I just want you to understand what you just saw. Muslims were complaining about racism and cultural and being attacked culturally. Let me say that again. Muslims were complaining in Britain. Muslims were complaining about being attacked culturally. Okay? With that said, and this is a funny thing. With that said, if you are, and again, I would never ever advocate hurting or harming a homosexual, someone who's a same-sex attraction. I would never ever advocate violence. But be a homosexual, go over into a Muslim country and try to immigrate there and be openly proud about LGBTQ. You can't do it. Won't happen. Won't happen. They're complaining about President Trump and his treatment of the Iraqi general Suleiman, who was now room temperature. Go to Iran and try to start an LGBTQ club and see if Iran accepts your culture. See if Iran is understanding about your sexuality. And start a club and start fighting for your rights. Go to any Muslim country and do that. See how tolerant they are of your culture and your beliefs. You're not going to do that. You're just not. Look, the proof is in the pudding. Every Muslim country, the majority, they're not tolerant of other cultures. No, they're not. And this is a sham. This is ridiculous. I want to end it with this way. That they attacked the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, in September of 2019 because they were gearing up for an election that took place, was that December 12th, 2019. Do you remember what happened? The Labour Party got crushed. And the British people in the whole Brexit election, because that's what it was, they said no more to this. If this is what multiculturalism is, we want no part of it. They rejected it. Boris Johnson won in places they never won before, the Conservative Party. And this multiculturalism, I think, in Britain is on its way out the door. Example, historic election. So, whatever, speak the truth about Islam. It is not culturally tolerant. No, it is not. It just isn't. If you don't believe me, how can I say this? Just Google it and see what happens in Muslim countries.
For such a time as this.